Today we are going to be rebuilding a toilet. So the issue with this toilet was that the tank was leaking into the bowl. So you had water constantly coming into the bowl and it was, see, it's going over the water line. That brown water line, and then the water is over it. So you know that water is leaking into the tank and it's going over where it always used to be. At first, I thought it was because of the flapper, which is probably several years old at this point, and it's not making an appropriate seal with the flush valve cover. But then I thought, you know, why don't we just replace the whole thing? If I replace the flapper, who knows, the flush valve is probably going to go in the next year. So why don't I just disassemble the entire toilet, which I've done here, and we're going to install a new flush valve, which comes with the flapper and everything installed. So we'll have pretty much a brand new toilet at the end of this. So I want to show you guys something cool. Here's the toilet tank, and that's what it looks like for those of you who've never taken the tank off the back of a toilet before. But this is the pump that fills the tank with water. And this is a pump that I haven't seen before personally. It's an old copper pump. It looks like probably from the, I don't know, 80s or something. But it's, you know, got that patina on it, so it's pure copper. This is a line that, it's not a flexible line, it doesn't bend. This was really cool. I haven't seen one of these ever, and I don't think they even make these anymore. For the new flush valve, I'm going to be using the Fluidmaster kit that I got off Amazon for about $7. This is what it looks like, and it comes pretty much fully assembled. This side sits inside the tank, and then this goes through the bottom of the tank, right where that hole is. So this is actually gonna go right in that hole. And then this sits between the toilet, the bottom of the toilet, and the tank. So I put the tank on now, I'm gonna take it off, I'm gonna reinstall it, and I'll show you what it looks like. Fluidmaster also sells a newer model. So this is the newer model of their flush valve repair kit with the adjustable toilet flush valve. So I understand Fluidmaster is always trying to improve on their product, but in this case, don't fix what already works. Numerous reviews have pointed out that water will go in between those threads. So it will actually, as that thing that you screw up and down, the height of the flush valve, water will actually go in there and go into the flush valve when you don't want it to. So numerous reviews have pointed out that there are leaks. Do not buy this model. Okay, so here we've run into our first issue where this valve, the flush valve, is too tall for the tank, and it's by design. So what that means is the water that comes out of the water fill valve from here has to make its way inside the flush valve. So what I'm gonna have to do is cut this to length. So what that means is I have the old one here, I'm gonna put the new one next to it. And you'll see I pretty much have to cut it right about there. So let's go ahead and cut that. I've tightened down the white gasket, the white plastic gasket that goes on top of these, the flush valve, which is inside here. And I'm using this really big channel lock. This is a lot smaller than it looks, but it's about 16 inches long. Unbelievable. And I'm tightening down, I tightened down the plastic gasket with it. So just to be careful, you know, I would highly recommend getting a large channel lock, just like this. These are called slip joint pliers, but even though this is huge, just try not to over tighten. It's very easy to over tighten that white plastic gasket. And if that happens, this is just made out of porcelain. It's made out of concrete. So if you over tighten it, this whole tank could crack. So just, you know, make it hand tight and then just a little bit tighter using the channel lock. And you need the channel lock because this is, I want to say, about 2 or 3 inches across. And you're not going to get a regular wrench that's going to fit that. So I have a ton of nuts here and washers and everything else from both the old and the new toilet set. So I decided to take a look at the instructions. And Fluidmaster is telling me to put a metal hex nut directly onto the toilet tank. Remember, this toilet tank is just concrete, it's porcelain. So I really don't like that. I don't like the metal directly on the porcelain. You'll see B and B, right? They always have other a rubber washer in between any kind of metal and concrete contact. So I don't know why they put E in the middle here. That's pretty dangerous. If you tighten that too tightly, it will crack the concrete really easily. So I'm not going to do E. I'm just going to do the top and the bottom. All right, here it is. Moment of truth. Let's turn on the water again. And start watching out for any leaks. So here's the copper fill valve I was telling you about, and then here's the flush valve. I've put in all the screws, the flappers installed. You'll notice we don't have the balloon installed yet. This is just to check for leaks. So let's see if we have anything dripping on the floor. And it doesn't look like there's any water on the floor, so all of our gaskets are holding still pretty tight. Okay, so it looks like we have a little bit of water dripping in from the gasket right up front. That's this one. This one's causing the issue, so we're gonna have to take this thing apart, flush the toilet, clean it out again, and redo the gasket. All right, so we've replaced that bolt and that nut. Lesson learned, always use the new hardware if they give it to you. And now we'll fill it up again with water and see if it still drips. And here's the finished product. So the water is right at the water line. The balloon's installed. The flapper works. Tried flushing it, everything works. The water's on, no drips here, no drips in the back or on the other side. So I'm pretty happy with it. We'll put the cover back on. The only thing I would have done differently is these two, you can see this, the two screws on the right are still the old ones. I would probably have replaced those, just like how I used the new hardware on the left side that was leaking. So we'll hope and pray that this doesn't leak, but overall I'm pretty happy with it.